Shrimad Bhagvatam, 1st Canto, Chapter 7. The son of Drona punished. Rishi Saunak asked, O Sut, the great and transcendently powerful Vyasdev heard everything from Shri Narad Muni. So after Narad's departure, what did Vyasdev do? Shri Sut said, on the western bank of the river Saraswati, which is intimately related with the Vedas, there is a cottage for meditation at Samya Prash, which enlivens the transcendental activities of the sages. In that place, Shri Vyasdev, in his own ashram, which was surrounded by berry trees, sat down to meditate after touching water for purification. Thus he fixed his mind, perfectly engaging it by linking it in devotional service, that is Bhakti Yoga, without any tinge of materialism, and thus he saw the absolute personality of God along with his external energy, which was under full control. Due to this external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material miseries. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasdev compiled this Vedic literature, which is in relation to the Supreme Truth. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. The great sage Vyasdev, after compiling the Shrimad Bhagvatam and revising it, taught it to his own son, Shri Suta Goswami, who was already engaged in self-realization. Shri Saunak asked Suta Goswami. Shri Suta Goswami was already on the path of self-realization, and thus he was pleased with his own self. So why did he take the trouble to undergo the study of such a vast literature? Suta Goswami said, all different varieties of Atma Rams, those who take pleasure in the Atma or spirit self, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of God. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls. Shri Suta Goswami, son of Shri Vyasdev, was not only transcendentally powerful, he was also very dear to the devotees of the Lord. Thus he underwent the study of this great narration, Shrimad Bhagvatam. Suta Goswami thus addressed the rishis headed by Saunak. Now I shall begin the transcendental narration of this Lord Shri Krishna and topics of the birth, activities and deliverance of King Parikshit, the sage amongst kings, as well as topics of the renunciation of the worldly order by the sons of Pandu. When the respective warriors of both camps, namely the Kauravas and the Pandavas, were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and the dead warriors obtained their deserved destinations, and when the son of Dhritarashtra fell down lamenting, his spine broken, being beaten by the club of Bhimsen, the son of Dronacharya, Ashwatthama, beheaded the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi and delivered the heads as a prize to his master, foolishly thinking that he would be pleased. Duryodhan, however, disapproved of the heinous act, and he was not pleased in the least. Draupadi, the mother of the 5 children of the Pandavas, after hearing of the massacre of her sons, began to cry in distress with eyes full of tears. Trying to pacify her, in her great loss, Arjun spoke to her thus: O gentle lady, when I present you with the head of that Brahman, after beheading him with arrows from my Gandiv bow, I shall then wipe the tears from your eyes and pacify you. Then, after burning your sons' bodies, you can take your bath standing on his head. Arjun, who is guided by the infallible Lord as friend and driver, thus satisfied the dear lady by such statements. Then he dressed in armor and armed himself with furious weapons, and getting into his chariot, he set out to follow Ashwatthama, the son of his martial teacher. Ashwatthama, the murderer of the princess, seeing from a great distance Arjun coming at him with great speed, fled in his chariot, panic-stricken, just to save his life, as Brahma fled in the fear from Shiva. When the son of Brahman, Ashwatthama, saw that his horses were tired, he considered that there was no alternative for protection outside of his using the ultimate weapon, the Brahmastra, nuclear weapon. Since his life was in danger, he touched water in sanctity and concentrated upon the chanting of the hymns for throwing nuclear weapons, although he did not know how to withdraw such weapons. Thereupon, a glaring light spread in all directions. It was so fierce that Arjun thought his own life in danger, and so he began to address Lord Shri Krishna. Arjun said, O my Lord Shri Krishna, you are the Almighty Personality of Godhead. There is no limit to your different energies. Therefore, only you are competent to instill fearlessness in the hearts of your devotees. Everyone in the flames of material desires can find the path of liberation in you only. You are the original personality of God who expands himself all over the creations and is transcendental to material energy. You have cast away the effects of the material energy by dint of your spiritual potency. You are always situated in eternal bliss and transcendental knowledge. And yet, though you are beyond the purview of the material energy, you execute the four principles of liberation characterized by religion and so on for the ultimate good of the conditioned souls. Thus you descend as an incarnation to remove the burden of the world and to benefit your friends, especially those who are your exclusive devotees and are constantly wrapped in meditation upon you. O Lord of Lords, how is it that this dangerous effulgence is spreading all around? Where does it come from? I do not understand it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Know from me that this is the act of the son of Drona. He has thrown the hymns of nuclear energy, Brahmastra. He does not know how to retract the glare. He has helplessly done this, being afraid of imminent death. O Arjun, only another Brahmastra can counteract this weapon. Since you are an expert in the military science, subdue this weapon's glare with the power of your own weapon. Shri Suta Goswami said, Hearing this from the personality of God, Arjun touched water for purification, and after circumambulating Lord Shri Krishna, he cast his Brahmastra weapon to counteract the other one. When the rays of the two Brahmastra combined, a great circle of fire like the disk of the sun covered all outer space and the whole firmament of planets. All the population of the three worlds was scorched by the combined heat of the weapons. Everyone was reminded of the Samvartak fire which takes place at the time of annihilation. Thus, seeing the disturbance of the general populace and the imminent destruction of the planets, Arjun at once retracted both Brahmastra weapons as Lord Shri Krishna desired. Arjun, his eyes blazing in anger like two red balls of copper, dexterously arrested the son of Gautami and bound him with ropes like an animal. After binding Ashwatthama, Arjun wanted to take him to the military camp, the personality of Godhead Shri Krishna, looking on with his lotus eyes, spoke to Arjun in an angry mood. Lord Shri Krishna said, O Arjun, you should not show mercy by releasing this relative of a Brahman, for he has killed innocent boys in their sleep. A person who knows the principles of religion does not kill an enemy who is careless, intoxicated, insane, asleep, afraid, or devoid of his chariot, nor does he kill a boy, a woman, a foolish creature, or a surrendered soul. A cruel and wretched person who maintains his existence at the cost of others' lives deserves to be killed for his own well-being, otherwise he will go down by his own actions. Furthermore, I have personally heard you promise Draupadi that you would bring forth the head of the killer of your sons. This man is an assassin and murderer of your own family members. Not only that, but he has also dissatisfied his master. He is burnt the burnt remnants of his family. Kill him immediately. Suta Goswami said, although Krishna, who was examining Arjun in religion, encouraged Arjun to kill the son of Dronacharya, Arjun, a great soul, did not like the idea of killing him, although Ashwatthama was a heinous murderer of Arjuna's family members. After reaching his own camp, Arjun, along with his dear friend and charioteer, Shri Krishna, entrusted the murderer unto his dear wife, who was lamenting for her murdered sons. Shri Suta Goswami said, Draupadi then saw Ashwatthama, who was bound with ropes like an animal, and silent for having enacted the most inglorious murder. Due to her female nature and due to her being naturally good and well behaved, she showed him due respects as a Brahman. She could not tolerate Ashwatthama being bound by ropes, and being a devoted lady, she said, release him, for he is a Brahman, our spiritual master. It was by Dronacharya's mercy that you learned the military art of throwing arrows and the confidential art of controlling weapons. He, Dronacharya, certainly still existing, being represented by his son. His wife Kripi did not undergo a sati with him because he had a son. O most fortunate one who knows the principles of religion, it is not good for you to cause grief to glorious family members who are always respectable and worshipful. My lord, do not make the wife of Dronacharya cry like me. I am aggrieved for the death of my sons. She need not cry constantly like me. If the kingly administrative order, being unrestricted in sense-control, offends the Brahman order and enrages them, then the fire of that rage burns up the whole body of the royal family and brings grief upon them all. Suta Goswami said, O Brahmanas, King Yudhishthir fully supported the statements of the queen, which were in accordance with the principles of religion and were justified, glorious, full of mercy and equity, and without duplicity. Nakul and Sahadev, the younger brothers of the king, and also Satyaki, Arjun, the personality of Godhead Lord Shri Krishna, son of Devaki, and the ladies and others all unanimously agreed with the king. Bhim, however, angrily disagreed with them and recommended killing this culprit, who had murdered sleeping children for no purpose and for neither his nor his master's interest. Chaturbhuj, the four-armed one, or the personality of God, after hearing the words of Bhim, Draupadi and others, saw the face of his dear friend Arjun, and he began to speak as if smiling. The personality of Godhead Shri Krishna said, a friend of Brahman is not to be killed, but if he is an aggressor, he must be killed. All these rulings are in the scriptures, and you should act accordingly. You have to fulfill your promise to your wife, and you must also act to the satisfaction of Bhimsen and me. Suta Goswami said, Just then Arjun could understand the motive of the Lord by his equivocal orders, and thus with his sword he severed both hair and jewel from the head of Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama had already lost his bodily lustre due to infanticide, and now, moreover, having lost the jewel from his head, he lost even more strength. Thus he was unbound and driven out of the camp. Cutting the hair from his head, depriving him of his wealth, and driving him from his residence are the prescribed punishments for the relative of a Brahman. There is no injunction for killing the body. Thereafter, the sons of Pandu and Draupadi, overwhelmed with grief, performed the proper ritual for the dead bodies of their relatives. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of Bhagvatam, 1st Canto, Chapter 7, The Son of Drona Punished.